Hi, welcome to another module. This time we'll study passive with by. But before we go deep into the topic, let me tell you what passive voice does to a sentence. Passive voice changes the emphasis on a sentence. In other words, we may say the same thing in a different way. You may be wondering when to use it. Passive voice is the best way to express an idea when, number one, we don't know who did the action. Number two, there's no doer of an action. And number three, the fact is more important than the doer of an action. As always, I will ask you to stay around and stay for the explanation. We will compare active with passive so you see the difference and notice the emphasis on each one. We will give you examples of each use as well as the structure of passive voice.
Passive with by, simple past. The passive changes the focus of a sentence. For the simple past, use the past of be plus past participle. Active.
The president opened the building in 1931.
Passive.
It was opened by the president in 1931.
Active.
An American architect designed the building.
Passive.
It was designed by an American architect.
I have this scrambled sentence for you. My sister, this book, in 2010, wrote. Can you try to unscramble the sentence and make sense of it? I will give you 15 seconds. Great. So we came up with, my sister wrote this book in 2010. Now in English we can say the same things in another way. Let's work with another scrambled sentence and let's do the same. Unscramble it and make sense of it. This time I will give you 20 seconds. My sister, this book, by, in 2010, written, was. Were you able to do it? I hope you did. This book was written by my sister in 2010. Now let's take a look at each sentence. In this first sentence, which by the way is in active voice, the emphasis is on my sister. It was not Susanna who wrote the book, it was my sister. This book was written by my sister. This book is the object, was or were. Written is the past participle of the verb. By, my sister is the subject. In this second sentence, we're using passive voice and the emphasis is on this book. The most important fact is that the book was written. Now let's write examples for the uses previously mentioned in our intro video. Remember? We don't know who did the action. My house was broken into on Friday. Who broke into our house? We don't know. Number two, there is no doer of the action. He was killed in an earthquake. There is no doer of this action. The last use, the fact is more important than the doer of the action. My dog was run over by a car. What happened to my dog is more important than the doer. Finally, let's go over the structure of the passive in simple past. Because we're using passive in simple past, this is what we'll use. Was, were, plus past participle. Before we go, we want you to work on the following sentences so you're able to practice. Our sentences are in active voice. Your work is to switch them to passive voice. Please write them on our discussion box. Number 1. Mom prepared the food. Number 2, all the employees read the memo. Number 3, the boy ate the cake.